everybody. Welcome back to our board interview series. My name is Lindsay Giese, and I'm the Executive Director for River Arts, Inc. And today we are with Mr. Alan Boehmer of Alan Boehmer Design. Hi, Alan.
Hello, Lindsay. Hello, everybody. Hey, welcome to RAI.
Coming straight to us from his car with good Wi-Fi.
Straight to you from, yes, my car. Yes.
Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks for
I have not the greatest internet at home, so yeah, I rely on the library.
We should give a plug to the Ruth Culver Library.
Absolutely. Yes.
Thanks for your Wi-Fi.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for your Wi-Fi. Yes.
So, Alan, I definitely want to talk about your role with River Arts, Inc., but I would like for everyone to get to know you a little bit better. So,
okay.
I don't know if a lot of people know your background, but you were in floral arranging in the big New York City for a long time. Right?
Yes. Well, I moved to New York in 1969, and I lived there actually 20 years. And I went to the New York School of Interior Design, studied that, worked in the industry for a little bit, but then in 1976 opened Madderlake with two other partners, and it was a kind of a premier kind of floral, innovative, kind of place. And the New York Times wrote some wonderful editorials on us and what we were doing, and we kind of hit a sweet spot. And all of a sudden, the 1% were starting to hire us. And so we became the florist to the stars, basically. And so, yeah, I mean, it was a great time. I mean, it was through the, late 70s and all through the 80s when all the big floral stuff, everything was really big that way. So, did parties at the White House, the Metropolitan Museum, the Modern Museum, worked for the Estee Lauder Company and all the family of Estee Lauder. Did, lots and lots of cocktail parties. I mean, it was like, the A party, the B party, the C party, and it was understood what each party was going to cost. I never discussed price with clients like that. I just didn't. We just did it. We did their houses, and that was that.
Do you remember what was the most expensive order you ever did?
Actually, the most expensive party we ever did was for the Mrs. Ann Cox Chambers, who she owned Cox Broadcasting out of Atlanta. And she and her sister, fabulously wealthy women. Anyway, her son was getting married. And it was kind of right during kind of the punk era, right in the early 80s, earlier 80s. And so we did this huge party at the Metropolitan Club on Fifth Avenue and kind of took over the building. And the flowers alone came in at $125,000. That didn't include all the different orchestras and it was just like, okay, is it ever going to end? So, and the marriage lasted about a year, which we all knew that would be the case. And Anne just decided, I'm throwing one hell of a party. And that's what she did. So, and that was a great time. Yeah, that was a good
Did you get to stay at the parties?
Yes, a lot of times we would stay just because a lot of things we did needed someone to kind of oversee things and make sure everything was going properly. I remember doing a huge thing for the New York Public Library, and it was when they were starting a huge renovation of the library and upgrading the library, and Mrs. Vincent Astor was very involved in that, and so we ended up getting pulled into it, and we took over the main reading room, which is a huge room within the library. And we created a out of boxwood topiary. We created all these whimsical creatures. We had elephants. We had like dragons on the tables, and we did all this lighting. So it was like was almost like you were outside in a summer evening, even though this was in the winter. And it was a huge success, but we had to be there to make sure all, you know, the lighting was happening correct, that everything was working, because there's so much to the works behind everything. So, you know, I mean, yeah, I would usually go to
Was there
stuff.
like a fire or something that happened at one of the venues?
Oh yeah, well, oh, that was a whole other, oh my God. So that was for Mrs. Paul Mellon. The Mellons, she and Bunny and her husband Paul had, they had given the British Art Museum to Yale University. That was his alma mater, and he had the largest collection of British art outside of Britain in his private cache. And so they did this museum, and it was designed by Khan. And he did this very, it's a very beautiful, very minimalist building. Well, anyway, we were doing the opening party for the museum at Yale, and we had this 18th century wooden candelabra. It was Venetian, and it was this really beautiful piece, but it had to be illuminated with candles. So we did that, and we were not staying for the party because it was, you know, up at Yale, and I wanted to get back to New York and whatever. So one of the waiters, an assistant person, was in charge of keeping an eye on the candelabra. Well, evidently somebody came along and put him on some other job, so nobody watched the candelabra. And all of a sudden, you know, the candles burn down, the candelabra starts on fire, and it's smoking. And but as Mrs. Mellon said then later on, she said what was very disturbing is none of the alarms worked. So she said, you know, in a way, it's a good thing the thing caught on fire.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, they took care of everything, and insurance took care of stuff. But anyway, it was just one of those things that you really don't want to happen at a party. So so that was kind of cool. But yeah, we did a lot of work for Mrs. Mellon, and I have to say, she probably was singularly responsible for having us actually stay in business. She basically paid our first couple of months' rent because of the parties she threw. She took over one of the department stores in New York, Bonwit Teller, which actually Donald Trump tore down, but we won't get into that. But Bonwit Teller, and a beautiful store built in the 30s. Anyway, they were doing a celebration of Hubert de Givenchy, the fashion designer, Givenchy. And because he was her private designer, basically. He also designed for, like, you know, Audrey Hepburn and all those people. Anyway, so Givenchy, you know, this party, we threw this party, and she spent a ton of money. But that's what paid our first month's rent, because we didn't know where we were going to get our first month's rent. Anyway, so that's a little of that history. But then, you know, come 89, I'm burned out. I'm getting older, and it's like, you know, I just want to do design work. I'd rather get back into doing interiors. So, and my family was getting old, my wife's family was getting older, and we decided, you know, let's be with family. And so here I am back in Sauk Prairie for the last, you know, 30 years almost, and still working, still, you know, still have design jobs going on, although right now it's obviously a little slow because of, you know, the coronavirus and all that. But, you know, things will open up again, and just booked a wedding today for 21. And I told the client, it's like, well, you know, God willing, I will be there doing your party. I did a huge party in February at the Memorial Union in Madison at the ballroom there, and that was absolutely beautiful. But, you know, then in 2 weeks, everything shut down. So it was, yeah, anyway, it was, it's been a little crazy.
I think couples are getting a good look into if they're compatible or not.
I think you're right. I think, yeah, that may be one of the silver linings here. You know, the wedding I booked is like June of 21, and I'm like, well, we're doing this early. He's like, hey, everybody's moving their weddings venues are not available. He said we had to book.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense, you know? So yeah,
And
I
if
have
they
some
can get
things,
through,
events coming up in June that I don't know if they're going to be
yeah.
held or not. I really don't. So we'll see. Anyway.
Well, we are happy to have you back here in Sauk Prairie.
Oh,
And
I love Sauk Prairie. And I love River Arts. River Arts has done more for, you know, bringing the towns around as far as making them much more desirable as a place to live. You know, when you have your, you know, you move here, you've got some kids, you want them in the arts, you want them involved in theater, in music, in the visual arts. Of course you do.
Mhm.
We have great teachers, we have forever, and you know, it's a really great place to live, and physically it is gorgeous. I mean, yeah, I've been a lot in a lot of the country and a lot of the world, and you know, I mean, this is a pretty special place,
I,
as you know.
I totally agree. So you were on the board for 9 years straight, and then
Yep,
from our bylaws, you were required to take a year off.
correct.
And we got you back, which was wonderful. So I think that
Yes,
maybe now it's been another 2 years since you came. So you've been on the board a long time.
a long time, forever.
So, but what I love about that is
I want to keep an eye on you guys. You know, I got to keep an eye on you guys.
we
And
knew.
we don't want to lose the history
Mhm.
of the organization. And with our board, we have a young board, we have a wonderful board. They're
Mhm.
very, I mean, they're really into it, and I love that. So, and that's hard to find. It's hard to find people who are willing to give of their time, and their just, you know, their energy and all of that, and their money to do this. But they all find it is incredibly important.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I
one of the best things I think, well, and I think one of the best things we did was really open the gallery. You know, we started with the gallery. You know, it all started with actually Tawana German and the whole special Saturdays or whatever we were doing in the towns, because you drove around and everything was empty. You know, it was weird. And so I started that, and you know, that gave us then the, you know, the idea to move forward. And well, I wanted to get the director out of the ticket box.
yeah, thank
I
you
mean,
for
that
that.
was the office, that's all we had.
Yeah.
So River Arts Inc. needed to really find its own place within the community, become the resource for the arts in Sauk Prairie. And that's what we created, and that's what I'm proud of, you know. Yeah.
Alan,
And thanks to a lot of people who did that. I mean, I didn't do that alone by any means. So
what is your personal favorite program that we offer?
I think the favorite program you offer is certainly just going to the concerts at the River Arts Center always. I mean, I love that. You know, I love having I mean, just having had Wings and Water, which was again, a very beautiful exhibition. Great art, great stuff. I mean, the Warhol show last fall, that was so special that Christina, you know, she pulled that together. That was her idea.
Yep.
And you know, works with you and is just a tremendous asset also to the organization, and really appreciate all of her work and obviously all of your work that you do. But I think so those things, and also you can't forget the terrace at River Arts Inc. Gallery right here on Water Street, the most beautiful view in Sauk Prairie, other than the library parking lot, you know, where I'm sitting now. But, you know, it really is beautiful. And going to the gallery, you walk around, enjoy the gallery, you can go out, sit out on the deck,
Mhm.
and just enjoy the view, enjoy the river, which is the lifeblood of Sauk Prairie.
And a beautiful new mural on the back of our building.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Mary Dickey and Rhonda Nass, for creating a beautiful mural that actually, if you're on the trail in the evening and it's getting a little dark, the lights are twinkling up within the mural. It's absolutely beautiful. It's subtle, but it's really a beautiful piece, and it covers a pretty ugly wall. So, I mean,
Speaking of them, I should give a few plugs. So Mary, Dickey, and Rhonda Noss are our curators. So they do all of
yes.
the displays we have here in the gallery and make it look wonderful. But you, Alan, as our
What?
interior designer board member extraordinaire, um, made the space aesthetically as appealing as it is today. We get compliments all the time on the wood floors and the color choices, and there are just some details and then with the studio, when we opened that, the flooring and the cabinetry, so you
Well,
helped with that, so we're very lucky.
thank you. Well, I like to be the decorator in residence. I kind of get into that. But but again, I love doing it because it should be a beautiful place. It should be a place where people want to come, want to relax, enjoy the art, soak it in. Art, the visual arts is really, it's the, you know, it's the seasoning for the soul. So, and then one of the best things is also all the monthly little concert things you do that are totally free. Of course, we expect a donation, thank you. But at the gallery, beautiful setting, and there's always just great music, and all kinds of things, all kinds of stuff from, classical, bluegrass to rock to singing, whatever. I mean, it's everything. So I love that. I mean, that's a really, really, and I think we kind of pack them in. It's really good.
It's
And
been
the gallery openings, let's not forget that. I mean, we represent how many artists now? I mean, there's a
37.
lot. How many?
37
37 artists.
local artists living within 35 miles, and the
Hmm.
talent is unbelievable, so
Yeah, it is. It's incredible what lives in the environs of Sauk Prairie. I'm amazed what's up in the Baraboo Hills. It's times scary, but it's also just amazing the creative people that we have here. It's so wonderful. And again, that goes back to, I believe, the people of Sauk Prairie and their commitment to the arts that they made 20 years ago when the River Arts Center was built. And it took a lot to get it built, but it's been 20 years already. And I think that is just extraordinary. And I'm so happy that we have this. This is unique. A lot of other towns and, school districts, whatever, are looking to us for guidance on how do you do this, because we've made it work. And that is through the brilliance of the people, who really, you know, who really thought this was all important, and it is important. So in that way, we're very lucky, very fortunate.
well, thank you, Ellen. I agree 100%. And I think that is a good way to close our little mini interview here today and
Well,
leave
you're
you
very
with that thought. So thanks for chatting with us from your car today.